I do hear that people tend to want to like get to everything on their bucket list because
Yeah.
they're not sure they're going to get time to get to them all. But I can't imagine experiencing that when you're only 28.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard because it's like, my friends are still, again, most of them don't have children or are just starting to have children, so our activities are different, and I don't want to miss out on those things. So it's finding the balance of, how do I go out and, be with my friends, and sometimes, in the beginning they would treat me differently, and it was like, I don't want to be treated differently. I'm the same person. But, it's checking in with yourself. Like, there are definitely moments where after I was getting towards the end of this that I felt like you're not checking in enough with yourself. Like, you are different from these people. Like, you're in a different category. You're in a different club. They haven't been through what you've been through, so you can't do some of the things that they do because it's just not healthy for you to do them. So it's just constantly checking in with what makes me feel good and what's going to prolong my healthy life because I'm different.
How long are you a survivor now? For how long?
My remission date that my oncologist and I have determined is my last day of chemo, so July 22nd. So we're coming up on it.
Okay.
Because again, we sort of did this backwards, so there could be an argument to say the day I took my tumor out was my remission date. But,
yeah.
But to me, the day of finishing chemo the heavy chemo was my remission date.
And how are you feeling?
I feel great.
So have you gotten all your strength back?
Yeah, I continued through chemo. I worked out with my personal trainer, and I tried
that really helps, right?
You cannot just hide. And look, my chemo was different than someone else's, so it might be easy for me to say that than somebody who was very, very sick all the time. I only had one day that I didn't feel well during the week. And I was getting it weekly, so it's a less of a dose every week. But regardless of the situation, and a lot of it's your outlook and your attitude, I could have easily said, I don't want to do any of this, and I don't feel good, and I don't want to go to work today, and I just kind of want to sit here and feel sorry for myself. And that's okay. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to feel however you want to feel. But for me, it was, I don't want to lose touch with who I am. I'm a positive person. I have good energy. And if you let that get the best of you, then that directly affects how your treatment goes, and the outcome of all of this. If you believe it, then it will be, whatever it's negative or positive. So, there's things that people don't tell you. Like, people don't tell you that when they give you a lot of steroids at the beginning because that's going to help you not get sick. No one tells you that you're so hungry from all these steroids that you're going to lick the walls. You'll eat anything. So, and your metabolism completely shuts down because of all the stuff. And then, I went into menopause, or premenopause, because my whole system shut down. So then you're really in deep trouble at 28. So that took a long time my body is not the same. My metabolism will never probably be the same. And so I have to work that much harder now to be careful, because it's a lot that your body's gone through.
Yeah, and they don't tell you a lot. You hear about losing your hair, but they don't tell you about some of the other long-term side effects, like chemo brain. So does that really exist?
Yeah. I was waiting for my review this year for me to be like, I have cognitive impairment. It does exist.
Yes.
In ways that I'll talk to someone and say, what are you doing this weekend? And then, 4 hours later, I ask them the same question, and they look at me like, are you even paying attention? And it's like, I can't explain it to you. I literally forgot. Or I'll go upstairs to do something, and I'll be walking up the stairs, and I'm like, what did I go up here to do?
See, okay, and here again, it's so good to hear, in a way, that somebody else who's gone through the same thing, that you're experiencing that same after effect. Now, I've read a lot of studies recently about this, and they are trying to figure out so that they make sure that they, in the future, treat the patient and not just the cancer. Because when they treat just the cancer, sometimes, that's all they really care about is eradicating that cancer. But we aren't told about the long-term side effects. Feeling freezing cold all the time, forever. Neuropathy in your hands or feet that can go on forever. And this fog and this, the effect of cognitive thinking. And my husband always says, gee, this must be what it's like for you women to live with men who have selective thinking.
Exactly. It's just that feeling of you never feel fully focused, you know? And especially it
the
was really
fog.
hard at work. Like I just, that was very difficult for me. And then if you're doing any type of surgery, the anesthesia is not helping with that. So, because that takes some time to come out of as well. So,
To the young women out there right now that are watching, or to moms who have daughters that are in their 20s, what do you say to them? I mean, even with moms, with daughters in their teens, about becoming aware of their bodies and not being over obsessed by it, but being really honoring and being cognizant and being their own best healthcare advocate. What would you say to them?
I would say, don't be afraid. I think we live in a society now where everything is so, with social media, everybody knows everything about everyone. And sometimes that can instill fear in people that can make you, and I want to be the voice of the good side of cancer, that it's not as bad. You always read terrible stories of someone who has the time to blog about all the terrible after effects of their chemo, and it scares you.
People are afraid of the answers,
Yeah,
right?
and with that comes I don't want to be in touch with my own health. I don't want to ever be put in this position. And the first thing is, don't be afraid, because you can let that fester and sit for years. And if you are ahead of it and on top of it, I mean, people tease me because I'm so in touch with myself, and I had to advocate for myself. I had to, say I'm going to call my doctor, and I don't feel comfortable with this, or I'm choosing to remove it. If you're not confident in your intuition and your ability to be a forward thinker, or be aware that there could be bad news, but you'd rather hear that now than 10 years from now, where there may not be coming back from that. So I think first is to not be afraid, and to also be in touch with yourself. And you, as a woman, no one will admit this, but we all kind of know when something doesn't feel right. We might want to push it aside and think, oh, it's probably nothing, or because it's scary. But you have to instill as a mother to your children that they have to communicate that and not be, feeling ashamed. I mean, as a young woman, there was a little bit of this, am I really going to tell everybody that I had breast cancer? And I was known as a young woman of having very large breasts. So, there's not but there is almost an embarrassment to it of I don't want people talking about me. I don't want people feeling bad for me. I don't need their pity. It's especially the world that we live in now, where people love to report on negative news. That's what sells, whether it's on real media or just through people having lunch talking about someone. Yeah. So, and it's also knowing that cancer treatment and cancer itself has come a really long way. And yes, there are terrible stories out there of people that are just really unfortunate, but there's a heck of a lot of really great stories. For me, I look back and the last year has gone by so fast, and yes, I'm a different person, but there's a lot about me that really hasn't changed. Most of my life is completely the same, and chemo wasn't fun, and I wouldn't necessarily sign up to do it again ever, but it also really wasn't as bad as I had anticipated it to be.
Got a good hairstyle out of it.
I got a great hairstyle. I have a whole new wardrobe. I chose to have a bilateral mastectomy based off of some of the results that they found. And as a larger breasted woman before all this, I never could find, not that I would condone this, but you try to find the positives in it. I still feel great about how I look. I feel confident in my body, and I feel like a new lease to continue to work hard on that, because I only have whatever I have left of it, so I better make the best of it,
Somehow, I have a feeling that you are absolutely going to be making the best of it.
I hope so.
You have such an infectious, wonderful, effusive positive energy.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that this is what has helped you through.
Absolutely.
And I think you know that you're going to be able to help a lot of other
I really hope to.
younger people through.
That's the goal.
Sometimes it gives you a new mission.
I would, and you think of so many people who aren't comfortable with themselves or are afraid, and I would want to do anything I could to help young or older people of just, you will get through this, and this is a blip in the landscape of it all,
Looking through it, looking through your rear view mirror now.
And it could always be worse. I tell people that all the time. Like, I never be like, oh, I feel so bad for you with cancer. And it's like, no. Don't feel bad for me. I am in control of this. There's treatment for me. There's a path. Like, you hear terrible stories of people who have other illnesses
Complicated things.
that there isn't treatment for. Like, I'm lucky in a lot of ways, I caught it. I was stage 1. I'm young. And I'm healthy otherwise, so I feel almost blessed that I was one of the lucky people to catch it so early and live in such a wonderful area with such great community of support and great doctors and great friends. And look, I'm sitting here with you right now. Like, that would not have happened 2 years ago. You and I would probably never have met. So everything happens for a reason.
We would have been passing patients at the hospital.
Or who knows, going to somewhere in Greenwich, not even knowing that we would have something in common later on in life.
Well, I am happy that we met.
Me too.
Absolutely, and I want you to be well.
Absolutely, same to you.